The following is a live broadcast of a Lone Star community radio program, recorded and broadcasted live on irlonestar.com, Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, and facebook.com/irlonestar. For more information on this show, please visit our show page at irlonestar.com/shows. To sponsor or donate to this program, visit our donate page at irlonestar.com/donate, or email us at lscrstudios@gmail.com, or give us a call at 936-666-1084. Lone Star Community Radio production and broadcast is possible by folks like you. So sponsor and donate today.
Hey, this is Jamie from Green River Ordnance. You're listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZW LP Conroe and 106.1 KZCC LP Conroe, and worldwide on irlonestar.com.
Hello, Montgomery County and downtown Conroe. Well, blah, 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 blah. That's the way to start it, just to get it out of the way. Thank you for tuning in to Toast of the Town with Christy and Mel, except today it's not Christy and Mel. I have a very special co-host today that everybody's seen before. How are you doing, Miss Lindsay Kasperzak?
I'm fantastic.
It is wonderful to have you joining me today.
Thank you. I am all excited. You told me to co-host. I was like,
right.
Yeah.
I know, bringing it, making it real. So, Mel, if you're tuning in, we miss you and we love you.
We do.
But we're going to have some fun without you, and I'm really sorry, but that's just kind of how it goes. If you're listening to us on Lone Star Community Radio, make sure you can also watch us live on the Moxie Innovative Facebook page. You can also tune us into 104.5 and 106.1 on the FM dial if you're in the Conroe area. So if you're about to scoot out and go grab a bite for lunch, make sure you don't miss a second. Turn us on, and you can hear all the fantastic details. We are broadcasting live right here in downtown Conroe, and what a beautiful, beautiful day it is.
It is.
It's hot.
It's hot.
Beautiful.
It is hot.
I know.
But
But I'm hoping the heat will just come in and cleanse everything.
sweat out all the toxins.
Yes, absolutely.
All the negativity toxins.
Yes. I am so over this whole situation. Usually we start the show off and we talk about events that are coming up, stuff that we're looking forward to, and unfortunately right now there aren't that many events that we can cover.
Yeah, everything keeps getting canceled.
Yes, it
which
does.
Is unfortunate.
Yeah, and I know Pacific Yard House is still rolling. They've got some live music over there because they're a restaurant, and there are several other restaurants that are, providing some live entertainment when they can, because they're also, serving food, so they can do that. But with that 50% capacity limit, it makes it hard for some of these small guys to make any kind of money.
Yep, it sure does.
Yeah, and you're an expert at small business
Oh,
with Lone
I don't
Star
know about
Local
that.
Guide. Well, with all of so Miss Lindsay owns Lone Star Local Guide. It's a wonderful digital publication. If you haven't checked it out, make sure you do. Download the app. Get everything, because there are lots of deals and everything too.
Yes.
But what is your feedback? What are your clients saying?
We're trying to work around everything.
Right.
So I always try to look at the positive and think outside the box for all my customers.
Right.
So if there's a way that they can still have people in, and, by me just doing a little quick video or commercial for them showing how they keep it sanitized and how
Right.
they're keeping everybody 6 feet apart, or how they only let so many people in at a time and need appointments. However we can do that to help get that out there, that's what I try to do for them.
Well, and that's the best thing right now, because everybody's obviously watching their social media, probably even more now, because everybody's trying to get their updates and everybody's trying to figure out, okay, what's really open and what's not, because we have seen so many closures. It's always a good idea before you go somewhere, to make sure that you check and see what the hours are, because there are a lot of adjusted hours too. But it has been I will say this, as depressing and sad and frustrating as it's been, it has been really cool to see some of these businesses think outside the box, like you said,
absolutely.
and do some different things. I know that y'all did a great video for the cupcake place. And I've also tasted her cupcakes. I don't know how amazing they are. But being creative and trying to get that engagement, are you seeing it to be more of a challenge right now with everything going on?
Yeah, well, this whole situation's a challenge. And and there's a lot of people that they're just scared to go outside. And so any way we can get them comfortable with going to these places or using my small businesses. My cupcake lady, she has the curbside pickup and you order all online. And so
Making the adjustments.
And being able to be flexible.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
And, and especially with the new order with, masks being very strongly encouraged everywhere that we go.
I like that.
Yeah, we, it's, I walked into HEB and it's still, there's an ongoing discussion, if you can call it that, battle over what is more important and what the stance should be. But, it's still shocking to me. It's still different to me to walk into a building and have to put a mask on.
Yeah.
I don't think that's something that I'm ever going to just get accustomed to doing.
No.
But between that and watching people drive around with their masks on,
That's the best.
Still haven't gotten that.
That's the best. I love that. I'm like, oh, okay.
I actually saw a post on Facebook of somebody that did that actually passed out and hit a tree.
Yeah. I mean, you're breathing in your own.
Yes, carbon dioxide.
Yeah.
I know, and it's hard enough. And then I put it on, and I've got my sunglasses on, and then I'm blind, and then I'm like, how I can't breathe, I can't see,
Yeah.
very treacherous.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
That's a friend of mine. He has a big burly beard, and then he has glasses. So when he wears the mask, like it just fogs up his glasses.
Yeah,
and
there's no hope.
Yeah.
Have to get some of that anti-fog stuff. Do y'all remember that? Did that ever work? I don't know if it did or not. I'm gonna have to think about that. They need to start buying some
Selling
stock
it
of
like
that. Yeah,
with your
with your mask. It's like a
Kinda
kit.
like a kit,
Get your
yeah.
sanitizer, your mask, and your anti-fog stuff.
Yeah.
See, why didn't we? Oh, this is our new
$1 million idea.
I'm
right
there.
here.
I'm ready.
This is
we're
why
gonna, we're gonna
this is
toast.
why-
We're gonna toast this $1 million idea,
Toast.
and then we're gonna introduce our wonderful guest, Miss Melody Fraser with Blissful Waters. And so, in case you didn't know, we call it Toast of the Town because we like to toast all the best of Montgomery County, and also we like to drink. So, so welcome, Miss Melody. Thank you so much for coming today. So I am so intrigued. Not only with your business, obviously I've done a little bit of reading, done a little bit of research, but how you found it and what made you passionate about it. So first of all, tell us about yourself. Tell us about Blissful Waters.
Okay, so how I found Blissful Waters, kind of. That
Well,
story?
just kind of,
Your
or just
story.
There's so much of
There-
it.
yeah.
How we found it in the beginning was I was just a stressed out mom. I was
cheers.
about to,
Yeah.
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 My
Pass the bottle.
my son had just started talking, and he literally has never stopped. And he was the second one. So I had a girl first who still used to talk. She does it now. She's almost 13. So she's still
yeah,
talking.
yeah, especially to you.
Yeah.
I get it.
So we're in that stage. But back then it was like softball. Every thought I had, if I felt like a softball was just being thrown at it, like, nope, that won't be happening here.
Right.
So I was literally going a little wackadoodle, and we were supposed to go on a we did road trips before we owned Blissful Waters.
Or now you have a small business.
Life
and you
before
can't
business.
leave.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I looked at that car like, oh, there's no way I'm getting in that vehicle and driving to Florida with y'all. And I literally told my husband that. I said, I'm not doing it. I said, that is a disaster on wheels.
Yep.
It's not happening. So he's from Australia, and he had floated before, and he sent me to a float center locally. And I had no idea, just like today, no idea what I'm getting into. Just walked in the door and floated, and it was love at first float. I was calm afterwards. I found myself again. I had my own ideas. I was creative. I wanted life again. So
That is so intriguing to me because I know, because I can float. I can float
Float a river.
anywhere. I can float a river. I can float. And it's funny because my kids laugh at me. I tell them that's why I keep my body fat up so I can float better. Because, it's a great reason. But I can float. I've always been able to do that. And it is really funny that, and this is part of why it's so intriguing to me, whenever you're floating, just like in the lake, and your ears get just under the water, and all you can do is hear your breath, and you close your eyes because the sun is so bright, and it's just nothing. And
Now-
how relaxing that is.
Yep.
imagine that more like space. So when
Yes.
you float therapy is more comparable to space. You're losing your limbs. The water's the same temperature as your body. So you disappear, and that whole feeling of
Wow.
disappearing in the water, you're like one with everything. So it's a very mental mental and physical. But
That's what I tell, because everyone asks me, like, oh, well, what's it like? I said, the only way I can explain it, it's like when you close your eyes and you feel like you're floating in space, because it's all the same temperature. And you don't feel anything, like your back doesn't hurt, or because, it's elongating your spine, and it's all taking off all that pressure wherever you have pain. No gravity, pretty much. So it's just, it's amazing.
it is amazing.
Wow.
And it's different for everybody. Every float is different. Every person's experience with floating is different. It's unique every time.
So what are some of the health benefits of floating? I obviously there are a ton.
So the main ones are anxiety. Anxiety is the root cause of so many things.
That's
So
very true.
We can take pills to help us with anxiety and suppress what the problem is, but the float tank helps you find the root. So it works through your anxieties. Another one is stress. Stress will end up in disease as well. Stress, anxiety, they're sisters.
Yeah. And all that inflammation that they bring about too.
Everything. And then you have the pain. So pain's huge right now. That's our main clients, because pain clients can't just sit at home.
Right.
So pain, lupus, fibromyalgia. The magnesium does go skin level, so it gives you days of no pain, 3 to 5 days after. There's a lot. We have a lot of researchers out there. There's the Laurel Institute of Research with Feinstein's. He's a neuroscientist. He's proven that it does relieve people of pain for 3 to 5 days. But I love it when my clients are like, we get a lot of clients that come in and it's the last resort. And they're crying. They're like, I can't do this anymore. And they come out happy.
Wow. So how do people float? So if you're not a natural floater, you can still come in and float.
Yes, it's 1,600. Our tanks have 1,600 pounds of Epsom salt.
That's a lot of Epsom salt.
We have rooms, I call them your own suite because they're 8 foot high, 7 foot wide. You have about 10 inches of the heavy Epsom salts in there, so you're not going to drown.
Right.
Yeah,
The salt would get you. The salt would get you before that happened. But that is one of the processes of anxiety. People, they always bring in the fear. Anxiety is fear. It's all fear-based. So they always bring in that fear of, oh, am I going to drown? It's too dark. What's this going to happen? But you don't. And so, so 8 foot high, 7 foot wide, 10 inches high of water, and you just sit in there and lay back and pop right up.
And no lights, I assume?
Ideally, no lights. Our rooms do have a low light in there, and a lot of people need to progress with that. And then we do offer music and meditations. So we have
a little bit of everything for everything.
So it's, the tank's been referred to as it's also referred to as a think tank. There's corporate execs who will go in there and just work out their new program or their new speech or anything they're working on. So it can be a pain relief. It can also be a think tank.
Wow, I think I could live in there.
Yeah. No, I'm one that needs like my little nightlight in there.
Yeah.
Because one time, I think it was in my file or something, and it said she doesn't like the lights on. So whoever was working turned off the light, and I about freaked out. I was like, oh my gosh. And so there are buttons right on the side. You just hit that and it pops on.
We ordered our new room. We're going to be a 3-room float tank center here soon, and it has starry lights on the ceiling.
I'm excited. That's going to be mine.
Fantastic.
I'm going to request that room all the time.
Yeah.
So where are you located at?
We are on Timberlock Place off of Grogan's Mill.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So not hard to get to if you're right there in the woodlands.
Very easy.
So going to a floating facility and experiencing this amazing stress relief and everything is one thing, but taking it and opening up a new business is a totally different monster. So what made you decide that everybody needs to be doing this?
I was floating on myself in Austin once a month. I went to Austin and hung out I floated at Zero Gravity Institute, and they make float tanks. And so I guess being in that environment kind of put the bug in my head. But also, my husband was going up constantly for he's in the oil business. So every month, he was like, okay, are you going to keep your job, resubmit your application? And he just said, do we have all our eggs in one basket, or should we start thinking about other things? And I said, well, if I open anything, it's going to be a float tank, because there was none for me to go to.
Right.
The kids were getting older. We had sports. We had stuff happening. It was getting harder and harder to do my little escape. So, we jumped all in. And, of course, my husband, the planner he is, he had it, exactly 12 months from the date, and we're doing this, this, and this, and it was all going to be open by that December. 3 years later, we opened.
The best of intentions.
Yes.
That's how it works. And so do your kids do it too?
My daughter, before she had blue hair, yes.
Yeah.
But we really recommend 12 and up. I don't like the younger floaters don't really need it yet.
Because they're not bogged down with all the noise.
Yeah.
But our 17-year-olds, our 16-year-olds are...
I got 15-year-old twins. I'm thinking I'm either going to drown them or they're going to float.
Well, and they need it. Think about it. They're taking in so much information their whole life. They're just bombarded with stuff.
And with
we're
stimulus,
not,
just
yeah,
all
we're
nonstop.
not
Yes,
we're not
constantly.
meant to be constantly. Our brains. I just read something the other day that talks about how much more information we get on a daily basis than ever. And so they really need to unplug. They're also dealing with stress of school, making A's and doing their sports and all that, being here on time.
Yeah.
Time's a huge one
Yeah.
for kids. I think that's probably the first thing they get over is having the time. Their first float, they're like, how long am I in there? What is it going to be like? Da-da-da. So they usually get out at 45 minutes, the first one. And but they get creative. They like to come out and draw and color and stuff
Really?
like that. Yeah.
That's interesting.
But they cry. I get a
Yeah.
lot of teen criers. And it's not like a sad cry. It's like a
cleansing.
It's a
Yes.
release.
Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
Well, and and especially with all of the pandemic stuff that we've been dealing with, and not just all the stuff that we've been dealing with over the last few months. I know not only are the kids, at first it was like, okay, we don't have to go back after spring break. And then it was like, oh, we don't go back after spring break. And then it was, okay, well, I'm losing this and I'm losing this and I'm not seeing my friends and I'm not having those connections and I'm not and
stuck
I'm
at
losing
home.
and I'm losing that comfort of having a schedule and a plan and then what am I going to do? And are we going to go back next year? And I've got an athlete and two athletes, but my daughter's also a cheerleader too, which is athlete. Nobody get offended. I'm just saying.
No, it is. It completely
but
is.
it's but you've got, and they're not used to not having something to do. And I know for me personally, being at home, I'm on the go 90 to nothing all the time, and for it to come to such an abrupt stop with no warning, it was traumatic.
Yep.
And and I've heard some people throw around the PTSD, and I'm not trying to compare this to combat warfare and the experience of that, but such a drastic change in such a short period of time without a whole lot of understanding, I think it's been really, really difficult for a lot of people.
Absolutely. I mean, that was one of my biggest things with all my customers is they were freaking out.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, like, I'm freaking out as well, but I'm just, all smiles and rainbows with them. And,
I know.
oh, no, it's going to be okay.
We're always smiles and
Meanwhile, I'm,
rainbows.
like, rocking back and forth in the corner, like, crying my eyes out.
Right?
But no, it was a complete change. And just with myself, I didn't realize how much I like going to club meetings and meet up with my friends and going to work at Wednesdays and all that. I didn't realize how much I needed that. And then to be abruptly halt and you are stuck at home, it brought up anxiety.
Yes.
And so, you try to adapt and do what you can to keep your sanity. But I think it's hard.
And it's
for
hard
people.
too because we're going through all that, but we're moms, so we're also trying to manage our kids
Keep
and
them
their
entertained.
anxiety,
Yep.
and trying to keep some semblance of normality. And as moms, that's hard enough to do on a daily basis when there's no pandemic and no.
I turned my room into my crate. I
nice.
did. I kicked everybody out.
Yeah.
I made it all me, and they have to ask. I go lock myself in there.
That's awesome. That's a great idea.
Do you get the hand underneath the door?
Sometimes, but the 13-year-old doesn't talk anymore, so it's just the 9.
I still get, underneath the bathroom door. Mom, how many fingers am I holding up?
I know.
How many fingers? I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh, and it's mom, and mine are 15. I'm like, what are you? I'm like,
Can I make a sandwich?
Can I make a thing? Yes, you can.
do you know what channel Cops is on?
Cops.
Like, what? Are you kidding me?
Google it.
Yes. I'm like, you have technology and every answer that's known to man at the tips of your fingers,
Yep.
but you've got to go find me in my 5 minutes of
sanity.
sanity and ask me something stupid. And I don't know what it is, but it's, can I have peanut butter and jelly? I don't care. Will it shut your mouth? Yes. I love my children.
Yes.
I love my children.
Yes, we all love our children.
Yes, but I totally understand. So How can people find you on the web where they can know where to call? Do they need to call and make an appointment? Is that the easiest thing?
We do it all. You can go online. We have a scheduling app that's attached to the website. So go straight to blissfulwatersfloat.com. It leads you. You push book. It tells you everything to do.
Nice.
It is super
We
easy.
do recommend to start with 3 floats, and there's reasons behind that. The first float is very exploratory. We get it's not surprising to get feedback of, oh, I just couldn't relax, I couldn't get into it, because it is a process. The first float, you're still bringing in fear. Like I said earlier, you're still wondering, where are my buttons? Like, how do I turn this off?
Right.
What's the side? Am I going to drown? You know, different things like that. The second float, your body's actually yearning for it. It enjoyed the relaxation, so it wants to do it again. But it's still, you're still learning to relax. You're still learning how to make all your muscles just kind of, like your head is the hardest thing.
Yeah,
Your head-
because you can't.
yeah. So a lot
all
of
the time.
yes, that's the hardest part. So we have a little tool for that.
Yes,
but
that's good.
I'm
then
the
the-
tool user. I still will not get rid of my
I'm sure I
tool.
will be.
It took me a year to get rid of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the third float is we call the magic club. That's when the mind and body are together. It's already assessed everything, and it's going internal. And that, in order to heal, you have to go internal. And that's so yes, we recommended 3 floats. To answer
Okay.
your question, blissfulwatersfloat.com. Get that 3-by intro.
Good.
You won't regret it. And then, or call us, and we'll chat with you on the phone,
Yeah.
answer all your questions. I even do float. I consider myself a float coach. So I even set up clients to come and speak to me first, and we chat with what their goals are to have in the tank, and show them around and get people comfortable with it.
That's good. So kind of put that anxiety at ease a little bit so people kind of know what to expect. Well, tell me this. How has the pandemic situation, how has that affected y'all and how y'all have to conduct business with the tanks and people coming in?
Well, luckily, my husband, being the researcher he is, he didn't let me get the original tanks I wanted to from Texas. He ordered them all the way from Pittsburgh, I believe. I don't remember, but they're amazing tanks. And they have the ozone gas. They have the UVC light. They have a big, huge filter in the back. It all goes through, and it does that
Just
after
constantly
every
sterilizing.
constantly. So they're not only, and we do hydrogen peroxide, 35% hydrogen peroxide in there, just to make sure. So it's a healthy way to clean the tanks without chlorine and bromine. So it's better for your body, but it's also very effective.
That's very good. Okay, so I'm going to ask the question that I know everybody's wondering. Do people do it naked?
It is absolutely naked. That's that whole like losing your body in space part. If you wear clothes, you're restricted.
Yeah,
Now,
because
my
it's
young
like pulling and
kids,
shifted and I get that.
and it's kind of a pain in the butt to get all the salt out.
Yeah.
You will probably destroy your bathing suit if you did it too much. My young kids, though, and even my own daughter, she's not going to float naked yet.
Yeah.
And so-
Well, that's probably a good thing.
yeah.
Well, and a question I get from people that are asking is, how many people are in the float tank with you? I'm like, no, you get your own special room. Like, it is your room.
Ain't nobody splashing me in the face.
No. No,
Some float centers do couple
I was
floats
going
and
to say,
things.
couples I could
I
almost kind of
just-
see, but it wouldn't be the same kind of release and
yeah,
let
you
go.
can't
because-
Exactly.
stretch out as much.
Well, and then
And
you might
salt
have
in
somebody
the
drowning
eye.
somebody else. I don't know what happened. He just sung.
You get into water wars.
I know.
And
Girls,
splashing.
the wives usually smile when they say, "Okay, go to your room, I go to mine." They're like, "Yes."
Going to my little water crate. It's all good. All right. Well, go. If you're curious, like I was, go read up. There's some really interesting research out there on just how beneficial this is. I think it's so cool that we have this now here in Montgomery County.
Yes.
What a cool service to offer. And I'm going to have to try it out.
Yes.
Yeah, I even missed the whole depression and like athletic performance side of it. You can push out affirmations.
Yeah,
in
well, and
there.
that's so with me being, well, I don't want to say like a major athlete.
Yeah, but you are. But you very much are.
Well, I mean, I do a normal workout at least 3
Yeah.
days a week, whatever. But we get sore, and you
yeah.
need that recovery. And the first time I floated, I came out. I felt like I could do backflips out the door. Like I felt so good and so.
So what you're saying is whenever I leave my Camp Gladiator
Yes.
appointment tomorrow morning, that I should just go ahead and
You
play the
should
float.
just-
Yes.
Go ahead.
Your range of motion improves.
Yes.
You
is.
recover faster. Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Wow.
I mean, I've done the cryo. I've done all kinds
Right.
of recovery, and nothing comes close to the float center.
I'm so intrigued. And I would love, I bet this has amazing benefits for seniors, for elder population, just because it does give them that relief and that, that they probably may not be finding anywhere else. And like my mom has restless leg syndrome. I bet that would be something that would could be really beneficial to her.
Yeah. Well, you said the story one time, a lady, she had like a walker or cane, and she went in with, and then she came out and she forgot it. Like, she didn't even need it when she was coming out because she felt so good. And
she actually left it there. That was my Instagram post. I was like, when your float's so good, you leave your cane behind.
That is awesome. That is so cool. Well, I'm going to get you to stick around if you've got time for a little bit longer. We've got another guest that's going to come in and talk to us too, and I think she'll be really intrigued by this as well. So make sure you go to blissfulwatersfloat.com. Go ahead, sign up for your 3 float package so you get the full experience. And you have membership packages as well, don't you?
Yeah, the more you float, the better it becomes economically for you.
So, take care of yourself. We all have to invest in our health and our and mental
especially
well-being, emotional well-being. We need all those tools at our fingertips. So anyway, thank you for tuning in to Toast the Town with Christy and Mel. If you are listening to us on your FM dial, make sure that you go in and like the Moxie Innovative Facebook page. Follow us there, because you not only get to hear us, but you get to see us as well. And you can see the really crazy faces that I make on just a normal basis, which I'm sure one will be the freeze frame for the video, because that's what always happens to me. Anyway, this is Toast the Town with Christy and Mel, and we'll be right back.
Health Center Southeast Texas is a federally qualified health center. We accept Medicare, Medicaid, and most major private insurances. For our self-pay patients, we have a sliding scale discount program available. Our health centers have qualified providers and staff striving every day to provide the best quality of care to our patients. Services offered are family medicine, behavioral health services, telepsychiatry, and pediatrics. We have 4 area locations. Look up the Health Center Southeast Texas online at hcset.com.
Second Saturday Divorce Workshop provides unbiased information to help you understand your options and move forward with your life. This divorce workshop is for you if you are contemplating divorce, in the process of divorce, already filed for divorce, or post-divorce. You will explore the emotional, legal, and financial aspects of divorce from professionals who have guided others through divorce. For more information on this divorce workshop, contact SecondSaturdayWoodlands.com or call 832-375-0900.
Our talk shows and music shows are looking for sponsors. Want to expand your brand awareness? Reach the hyper-local audience in Montgomery County? Lone Star Community Radio sponsorships accomplish this. Want to see our stats and rates? Check out irlonestar.com/sponsor for more information. Or call in and leave us a message at 936-647-3776.
Welcome back to Toast of the Town with Christy and Mel, except I'm with Tres Presidente, Miss Lindsay Kasperzak, joining me as special co-host today in Mel's absence.
Hello.
I know, and I know she's so sad. She's like, oh,
I know,
man.
I was bummed. It's usually Tres Presidentes,
I
but
know.
today it's Dos Presidentes.
Dos Presidentes, I know. So I guess that means we just have to drink more margaritas per capita to keep it, in sync. Anyway, if you are tuning into us, we have been visiting with Miss Melody Fraser, who owns Blissful Waters Float, or Blissful Waters, but it's a float tank. Sensory deprivation, was that like the best way to describe it? And I'm so intrigued about the benefits and what it could mean. And, Holly, I think this is like something we should go do.
I'm so jazzed I can't even stand it, because I am so old that I watched Altered States 1 million years ago, which was a movie about when these first came out, and have wanted, and so I just always take baths with the lights off, and my friends call it float to relax. They're like, why didn't you call?
Do you really? Like, how do I not know this?
Oh, it's hardcore. It's hardcore. Yeah. It's a problem.
How long have these things been
It's
around?
a problem.
Oh, pull
No,
this
I
up.
haven't done it in a real one.
Okay.
I've done it in my own home, but I want to do it in a real one for sure.
But you've done it in your own. I've never thought about that.
Oh my gosh,
like I've
girl,
been
you
missing
need some.
I know. I need some.
So back
all
in the
kinds of
day, in this movie, Altered States, William Hurt was in it, and he. Do you want me to tell what happened, or does it scare you?
No, it's fine.
So he regressed all the way back to pre-evolution, his pre-evolutionary self, and turned into kind of an ape man and ran wild all over New York City. It was the bomb diggity. But
That doesn't really happen.
It never happens. It never really happens. It was a movie.
Except I know a couple people that have done that without floating.
Exactly. But my grandfather owned a movie theater, and so I had the movie poster in my dorm room in college. It was so cool. Yeah, I loved it.
Yes.
So,
You need to come.
Wow, Altered States.
Altered States.
Okay, then I'm gonna have to check this out.
Is it on Netflix?
No, don't. It's right. No, I mean
It's
seriously,
really
y'all. It was like in the 70s. You know.
Yeah, no, but I like the concept. I like this
Yeah.
idea
And
that
William
you
Hurt back
actually
in the day.
Maybe we get like Cliff Notes version on YouTube.
maybe
Yeah.
so the highlight
Yeah.
reel.
Highlight
reel.
There we go.
Yeah, but Holly is, as everybody knows, Miss Holly Arbuckle, who's been with us. I don't know how many times. A lot. You co-hosted with me
few.
before, and she is obviously involved with the whole political process, and you're having to deal with all kinds of fun stuff these days.
Yeah, I was asked to be on the ballot board, the absentee ballot board, for this election.
Which means, for people that don't know,
Right. So I've done this before, but I've done it after the election, where you certify the election. So I've
Okay.
done that ballot board. I've never been on the absentee ballot board. So I was really interested to do it because what the absentee ballot board deals with is mail-in ballots. So that
which is a huge topic of conversation right now.
Exactly, which is why I really was excited to do it, because my gut kind of thinks that, I'm a conservative, but I always want to be thinking about whatever's next. I'm not one of those, stick in the mud things. And I think a lot of states do mail-in ballots very successfully. Why can't we? So I've been kind of researching it, thinking about it. And then when Dorothy Woodall, who is another just stalwart of the Republican Party in Montgomery County, does this every year, and she is just unbelievably dedicated and smart and awesome. Anyway, so when I found that this was happening, she wanted me to do it, and I was so glad to do it. And so I spent a little bit of time talking to her. And the first thing I need to say is I am not here representing the elections department. I am not representing the Republican or Democratic Party. I'm not representing even the people who are there volunteering. I'm just talking about my experience.
Yes, and your
so
research.
I need to
Yes.
make sure that I certainly don't want to,
Put words in anybody's mouth.
right. And
We
I'm not an
understand.
expert by any
Right.
stretch. So
So I can imagine, especially with this election and everything that's going on in the world with all of the conflict and distrust and everything, that there are some real challenges that go along with absentee ballots this year.
Yep. So absentee ballots the words have changed over the years. Back in the day, absentee, you used to have to give an excuse to vote absentee, and it was about 3 days. And then they changed it to where it's about 2.5 weeks, and you don't have to have an excuse. So it's not absentee balloting, it's early voting.
Early voting.
But but mail-in balloting is what we've been doing this week, counting the mail-in ballots. So if you are 65 or older, you can ask to get a mail-in ballot, or if you're disabled, or if you have a provable reason to be out of the country.
So how far in advance do they have to request that kind
A long
of
time,
accommodation?
and I should have restarted
but no,
all that.
that's okay.
I came straight from there, so I
So
didn't
it's
do
not
it.
like they can
But a
say,
long
hey,
time.
call in today and say, hey, can you send me a ballot?
No, it's
not
too
gonna
late.
work.
Yeah,
Okay.
the deadline passed about a
There
week
you
ago. And so you have to mail in an application, and then they mail you back the application, which you have to fill out. Then you mail it back in with all the accoutrement that you're supposed to send with it. So what we do on the absentee ballot board is receive those ballots, open them, stack them, don't count them, but make sure they're all like what I did this morning was a bunch of, we have I'll tell you the details of how they come, but basically me and a Democrat, I'm a Republican, and
Right.
so I'm sitting across the table from a Democrat.
Because we're keeping it balanced.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
And we have, so we open the envelope, we take it out, and there's two signatures. There's a signature that they sent when they requested the ballot, and then there's the signature that they did when they filled out the ballot, put it in the envelope, and put it in. So the first thing we have to do is compare those two signatures, and we both have to say, yes, this is the same person.
Oh, wow.
Once that's done, we take those envelopes and put them back in the original envelope and keep the ballot envelope. So we open the envelope now that we've approved it, get out the envelope that has the ballot, open that, and see that there is only one ballot in there and that it's there, and put that aside. And then all of the other stuff is checked. It's all already been checked by the people at Election Central to ensure that they did request it and that this came back and it's the same one. Then in another room, another group of people take all of those envelopes, open them up, count them and make sure the numbers are correct, lay them out, put them in stacks of 50, and then give them to the election central people to put them through the machine.
Oh my goodness.
That is a process.
So I say to Dorothy Woodall, queen of everything, I think we should do mail-in ballots. They do it in the state of Washington. They do it in some other states. And she's just like, Holly, it would be, she goes, it
would take
costs,
forever.
Well,
Yeah.
it costs $36 a piece.
Oh my gosh, just between postage and
Postage,
time and
paper. I mean, just the paper
tedious.
is just insane. The time, all of that stuff. She said it costs approximately $36 per ballot.
Holy
and
cow.
we did about 10,000. There'll be about 10,000, maybe 12,000 for the runoff.
Oh my,
my
gosh.
gosh.
That's what we're doing right now is the runoffs. So
That is
and it would
crazy.
take a whole different type of machinery.
Right.
So if we were to do those, it would take a whole different type of machinery, which we'd have to completely redo. So it's not something they can do quickly.
Well, I would think that if you were going to do something, I was going to say large scale, but 10,000, that's pretty large scale. But if you were to go any bigger, you'd almost have to get some kind of scanning recognition software that would look for certain
And that's
points
what
on
she
a
said.
signature
She said,
to match
we don't
out.
do it in the, what we do is very manual,
My
because
goodness.
it's just a certain number.
Okay,
But
well, on one hand, I will tell you that actually gives me a great deal of comfort
it
knowing.
gave me, this is the first, like I said, it's the first time I've done it. And I've always, I've worked elections all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always very, very defensive about the election day process and also early voting. I'm very confident that all of that is done well. And especially, I can't speak for other states, or even counties, but in Montgomery County, you just pretty much can't screw
Right,
with it. I mean,
right.
I just can't.
Right.
But I had never done this. And so I'm so excited to do it and to see that it would take, Dorothy and I talked about it and some of the other ladies, it would take a collusion of at least 6 people. And 1 or 2 of them would have to be
Per
employed
vote.
by the elections.
Well, and it's not like they're gonna
There's
be-
no way that me and my partner could do it. There's no way the people in the counting room, because there's 5 people in. I mean, it would be a very, very difficult thing to cheat.
But how tedious if that became even larger scale. I can't even imagine how long.
Exactly.
it
And
would
what I'm
take to
worried
get there.
about is, I don't think the onesie twosies, you mail it to Mr. and Mrs. Johnson and they send it back. But if an entire apartment complex, if you were to fill out the forms for an entire apartment
Right.
complex and you were there the day that the postman got it and you grabbed those 317 applications,
Mm-hmm.
you would still have to compare the individual signatures. So it would take a lot of work
Yes.
to fake
Yeah.
all of that stuff, and nobody's going to pay you for it. I mean, it would be in our system in Texas. I just don't really see how you could, on a large scale,
Facilitate it.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
just too much.
Screw it up, yeah. So today we had. I should
Interesting.
be stopping and let you answer questions, but I'm so
No,
excited.
keep talking. This is
So
I'm
yesterday,
absolutely intrigued.
It was pretty workaday. Today we had one that was. I don't think that it was that I had to reject, which I hate to do, and that's the thing that Dorothy tells all of us. None of y'all ever worked an election with me, but anytime I work an election, I tell all of my people that are working, our goal today is for everybody to vote,
Yes,
whatever it takes.
every vote counts as
Everybody
much as
gets
possible.
to
Yeah.
vote. We're not going to turn anybody away unless we just have to, and if we do, we're going to give them exactly what they need to do to vote. So that's always my goal. So Dorothy started out saying the same thing. We want to determine the voter's intent today.
Okay.
If it's not clear, we want to try to see the intent. So this one that I had to turn down, I'm just going to make up a name. So the lady's name was Barbara Johnson. And Barbara had filled out the thing. And then the signature that came back looked similar, but the B and the J
We're different.
from
And
each
and
other.
I do that sometimes.
On your signature?
Yes, on my signature.
Well, you should not.
Well, I don't do it on purpose.
Yeah.
It's just some
But
days I'm like,
that's the
"Ooh."
thing. That normally is a thing that you can tell.
Yeah.
You always are gonna. I always make my H's the same. Always make my H's the same in my signature.
Yeah.
But the handwriting, but the names were pretty close, and it made me think. My mother and my grandmother, their handwriting is almost the same. Mine's not. I have the handwriting of a serial killer.
Yeah.
But
Me too.
my mother and my grandmother's handwriting is very similar.
Mm-hmm.
So what I think happened in this case is I bet the daughter helped the mom to do it because it was that close. But it was just
But you couldn't do
those
it.
letters were just not even close.
Well,
know?
but
And I called in four other people, and the Democrat and I both agreed we had to reject it. Now that doesn't mean it's over.
Right.
Because what Dorothy did is she went back to this lady's original voter registration certificate, which she had done probably 20 years ago, and you could tell that she was older, you know.
Yeah.
But it had those same initials that, you know, it was obvious that this was not her signature,
Right.
you know. So she was going to, and she said that's one of the reasons why we do this early is because, you know, the election is July 27th, and so there's still time to contact her
And
to
so she
say,
gets another
come up
opportunity.
here, you can cancel this one, and you can not do another one, but you
Right.
can now vote on election day if she physically comes and cancels it. So
Wow.
there is time to still save that vote. Now there might not be if we, you know, later
Depending
in
on the
week.
process,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
but I think number one, it speaks for the amazing integrity of the voting system and the
Yes.
absentee ballot system, because obviously we've heard a lot about that. Now I do see that there's just no way it could be feasible for everybody to be mailing in ballots.
No, there couldn't. There was another one yesterday, which was someone that we all know. In fact, the husband of a person who works in the courthouse.
Uh-huh.
And
I can guess.
just this kind of signature, you know, but they were different. And I'm just like, I know this guy, and he's probably just screwing with us, you know. And we went back and looked at several things that he had signed for elections over the years and did pass it. And
Yeah.
we all knew him, so we're like,
Okay.
we're going to do it. But it was interesting to see all the different signatures that he's done, but there are some similarities.
That look,
you know.
yeah, because I'm that way. You know, some days I'm in a mood to be a little bit flowery and bigger,
Yeah.
and some days, we're just gonna keep it kind of
Yeah.
Not me. I'm surprised I just don't do an X.
Yeah.
You're really,
You're
I do an L and it's a straight line.
Well, see,
Right.
whenever I was in school, nobody here, I don't think, has ever seen my mother's signature. But, you know, whenever we were in school, we used to get these report card stubs that were like this big that parents had to sign. And my mom took up the
Take the whole
entire
thing.
report card. So I would take in just this little part that didn't say anything. It was just scribbles.
Right.
And they would be like, so I finally had to start taking my whole report card up
Back
there.
and-
Okay,
she
can y'all imagine this? Oh, okay. And then it was fine. But,
Right,
you know,
right.
but same kind of deal. And just to be able to, you know, compare that and see that it was legitimate. But I think it's
Right.
really fascinating that it's so hands-on.
It is. It is very hands-on. And there's two, you know, like what we did today was, you know, two jobs. One person opens the envelope, then you hold it up to the other one and compare the two signatures, and they approve. And then, you know, you go about the process. And so then, like, halfway through, we switch jobs, you know. I mean, not for any reason of cheating.
Just to kinda keep
break
back
it
and
up.
forth.
Because, you know, of course, you know, you can probably tell she's a little slower than I am. So I'd be like, okay, come on.
Well, and I'd be like, okay, so what if somebody just comes in and they're just being in a difficult mood and they're just like, no. No.
You can. I mean, but you have to go to the people. And the cool thing is, she has access. Dorothy has access to the complete system. So everything that you've ever done with the county elections is on record, is scanned. So she can look up your original application. She can look up anytime not when you've voted, but anytime you've applied for this, or because most people do it every time if they're 65 and older. So she can see, you know, she can look up several things and see, you know, what they've done. So
Wow.
yeah.
Well, so, but what you're telling me right now, or what I'm kind of gathering too, though, is that absentee ballots, there's a lot of them coming in for this runoff election.
There are. I was surprised at how many.
Because that's always the concern, you know, whenever, especially with a runoff election, that, you know, voter turnout is going to be sluggish, but it's not so much the case right now.
Well, and one of the things is that, and a lot of candidates don't know this, but you can buy a list of people over 65 and mail them a sample, I mean, you know, fill this out and send it back. You don't send it back to the candidate,
Right.
but you send it. And so a lot of candidates do that. Not a lot. Some do it. I always do it when I do a campaign.
Right.
But a lot of people don't know that that's something a candidate can do to encourage
that voting.
And I have a feeling that at least one candidate has done that in
Yeah.
this race, because they're pretty. It's bigger than I thought it would be.
Wow. Well, that's really interesting. I think that's, I know, with the topic of conversation being so hot right now, it's good for people to know. I know that makes me feel a lot better about
Yeah.
things.
It
Yeah,
did
well,
me
the
too.
whole, like, everything I've seen on Facebook, it's like, please get out and vote. Nobody's coming. Like, it's record low numbers, and it's like, yikes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm telling you what, Christy can attest to this. It does not matter what election it is, what day it is. People are, oh my gosh, it's the biggest turnout we've ever had. And oh my gosh, nobody's voting. It's so.
It's one or the other.
And it can change hourly.
And people freak out, and there's just all this stuff. And when I'm running an election, people come, how's the turnout? I'm like, about the same as every year. Shut up. I'll tell you at the end of the day. Because when you're in it, you can't feel it, you know.
Well, and I think that's, typical, social media now. Everything is
absolutely
a crisis.
Yeah.
And it's
and everybody wants those answers
now.
Instantly.
Now.
And but that's really interesting. So how many hours a day are you spending doing this?
I am doing 3 hours a day, 3 days this week.
Yeah.
But people are working all day long. They started last Friday and they're going till this, so it'll be about a week. And Dorothy predicts that they'll be finished. So,
and it says volunteer?
No, it's just
paid position.
it's just like election day.
Right.
You get paid $7 an hour. Or
right,
something.
but
so,
still.
So basically, yeah.
But still, this is a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of time.
$36 a ballot.
Yep.
Wow.
That's what she told me. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So if you think that, elections are a waste of time or not worth it, think about that. Mm-hmm. Not only the results, but just the process and what it costs to actually put one on.
Yeah.
Really
it
interesting.
does. Yeah.
So, I'm thinking that when all this is said and done, you're going to need to float.
Yes, you are going to need to float.
Absolutely,
Yes.
I'm all about
You're
it.
gonna need to take-
I remember when you opened and I didn't go do it, but I'm definitely going to. This got me all
Today's
fired up
show is
about it.
called Float and Vote.
Float to relax, baby. Float to relax.
Vote, and after you're stressed out
And then
about
go
that,
float.
go float.
Yes. Or go float, get some mental clarity.
Yes.
And then
go.
vote.
Yeah.
Manifest your future
Yes.
candidates.
You should absolutely have a special election package for people running for office that on the day
And
after
their
election
families.
day. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And workers.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you. So after my husband ran for 457, that was our life. We put everything into that
insane.
campaign.
It's a creature.
It was crazy. And I was so just, after the election, you go 9-0 nonstop every day of the week. And then it
For
just...
months.
For months. And
And when you're
then
not
it
doing
comes-
anything, you're thinking about it and
Yes.
planning and
Yes.
yeah.
You're constantly thinking about it. And then, after election day, and it came to a abrupt halt to where we were doing all this stuff all the time to nothing. And that kind of gave me anxiety.
Of
because
course
I'm
it
like,
does.
I'm not doing,
You're like,
I'm
what
not,
about- yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
go all the time. And so Mel, I had told her, I said, I need to come float, and she upgraded my package to 90 minutes, and I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be able to lay
sit
there
still
for
for 90
90
minutes.
I was out within
Yeah.
5 minutes. I was gone out. The tank had to wake me up because it
Right.
does wake you up.
Does it really?
Yes. And so I was like, I can't believe I stayed in here the whole time. I was
But
like,
I don't want to
really
sleep
needed
when I do it. I want to be able. It's like I had a massage a few months ago or weeks ago, and I was really tired, and I fell asleep, and I was so mad at myself because
you missed it.
You
Right.
don't. So I don't want to sleep during it. I want to be awake.
No,
be
I mean,
awake.
The
that's
goal
part of
is
the whole,
the goal
like-
is that theta state,
Yeah,
right
exactly.
before you go to
Right.
sleep.
I
Right.
always know that I'm in my, meditated state in the float tank because I'll be consciously awake, but my body starts to twitch.
Yeah.
So I know that my body is
Something's
relaxed,
happening, yeah.
and I can be like,
So
okay,
that
it's
happens
okay.
because if I'm going to sleep, I can go to sleep
Right.
so fast. So can I find that state, or am I just gonna?
When your body twitches, your face itches, that's your body rejecting the relaxation. It's just playing games with you. You have to
Yeah,
teach.
it is.
Story of my life.
You have to be the boss of your body. So you basically, that's what you're trying to change, is make your mind the boss of the body, telling the body what
that's
it's
cool.
doing.
Yeah.
I know, but how do you find that mid center? Because really, I can
Practice.
be practice.
Lots of floats.
Lots
Atta girl.
membership.
Lots and
Always
lots.
be
That's
close,
right.
baby.
Lots of membership.
But
Well,
it's worth it.
I know. Well, it's one of those things. So the first time I heard about it, I was like, what? Like, what is this? And then I went and I started reading about it. I was like, well, that's kind of cool. And then I read a little bit more about it, and I was like, this sounds like something that I really need.
Everyone needs it.
Right.
Yeah.
Everyone.
The world would be much
It's
more
almost
chill.
like
Oh,
a
yeah.
computer deprogram and reset all at the same time.
Wow. So how often do you float?
Once a week. I love twice a week, but once a
Really?
week is usually what happens.
Is there like a too much threshold? Like, can you float too much?
No.
I know.
One day,
like drinking
during
water. You can't drink
COVID,
too much
I
water.
tried to do like a float every day. I thought, oh, nobody's here.
Might as well.
Might as well. It didn't work out. But I was going to log it and everything. So hopefully one day I'll be able to do that. Because, there are stories out there of people that have floated like 30 days straight and see their transition. And
Wow.
That is so cool.
Goals.
I know. I really want to try this out, and I'd love to see how it could affect, like my son. He's a baseball player and he's catcher, so it's signs, it's signals, it's how you grip the baseball, it's all these different things, and just what that could do, just for that mental process.
Well, he can
Baseball's
run
a
through.
thinking man's game,
Yeah, he can run through his game. That's when it's a think tank. He can actually visualize himself playing the game, doing all the things his heroes do that he watches on YouTube, and do that on the field. Wow. So you're basically programming yourself.
Can you imagine how some of these gamers that are Fortniting and what's the other one? Minecrafting,
Minecraft,
and all the creation. I can imagine that would be like a spark for that too.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't had a lot of gamers
I
yet,
know.
but bring them in.
I know.
Bring all the people in.
So and the reason why I say that is because this is something I did not know. So my son was a Fortniter. This is totally off topic, but you'll understand. He Fortniter. Okay. Well, I didn't know that he had debit, I won't say debit card, but a prepaid Visa card that he'd gotten for his birthday or whatever. And he'd actually spent money on this profile for this game. And people are reselling them.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm
It's
like,
insane.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
Oh,
What
story
do you
time.
mean?
Gather around, kids. Story time with Auntie Lindsay.
Yes.
So Bobby, my husband, I don't remember what game it was that he played, but same thing. He spent hours and hours on this game because he doesn't sleep anyways, and
Right.
so he would be up till 3 a.m. or whatever. But he played this game and he got it so ultra level or whatever. He ended up selling it for $5,000.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, I was like, well,
Just imagine what it would have been if he'd have gone and floated.
I know.
While he was doing
I
that
know. Oh, I know.
and building it up. I know. I'm like, there are no boundaries here. We're gonna explore every single one of them. But
Right.
Holly, thank you so much for coming and
you're
explaining that to me,
welcome.
because I feel like I know a lot about elections, and I feel like I just learned a whole lot.
Yeah.
Me too. That's
Yeah.
exactly where I was.
Little
Yes.
eyes
Yeah.
wide open type of thing. Wow.
Yeah.
And it's good to go and leave with a good feeling.
Yeah.
I just
The
can't.
feeling that I can trust this.
I
This-
can't help but think about your square signature versus your real square signature. Will people even have a signature to compare?
Oh, that's
next
true.
Because my kids don't. I mean, they don't have signatures.
I know, they just print.
They just
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
just do
it's
their little.
well. That's my husband. He just blah, blah, blah.
and I literally I call
But
that
the-
my square signature.
Yeah, but the thing is, you have to do the same.
Same
It
one.
doesn't matter what it
Right.
is, as long as it
It's the
is
same.
pretty
Consistent.
close.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Very consistent.
Correct.
Well, thank you, Holly. Thank you, Melody, for coming with us
Thank
and joining
you.
us today. This has been, I've learned so much.
I know.
I've learned so much.
It's like eye-opening.
I know.
Sure.
So I think we need a field trip.
Yes.
And I think we need a field trip for margaritas and floating.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Maybe when the
thing
election
is
results come in.
don't. I was told
do it
don't drink
before.
and
Yeah.
float.
Well,
It's
first one,
bad.
then the other. Right.
Yeah.
Which one
Yeah.
first?
Float.
You don't want to drink before you float.
Yeah.
Okay.
So float,
Why?
then
Just
go.
curious.
Well, motion.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you're on top of that water. Yeah.
Yeah.
Riding the
I've,
ocean. in
I've
motion.
tried it. It's not fun.
Not fun.
A word to the wise from those that have lived it and done it. Thank you, Lindsay, again for coming in.
you.
If you have not downloaded the Live Local app,
No. Lone Star.
Lone Star Local. Why can I not? I knew I
Well,
got it right in the beginning. I
had
knew
an
I was
L.
going to
Yeah,
mess it
we're-
up.
we're going. Yeah.
Well, Mel always says Lone Star. What was the cattle magazine she
Yeah,
had?
I know.
Yeah,
And
she was making.
So, in honor of Mel, I screwed it up.
Yeah.
So she's here with us, obviously. But thank you so much. If you haven't downloaded the app, make sure you go and do that. Help local businesses, support local business. They all need us more than ever right now. Make sure you tune in with us every Wednesday here on Lone Star Community Radio and the Moxie Innovative Facebook page for Toast of the Town with Christy and Mel every Wednesday at noon, celebrating Hump Day and celebrating the best of Montgomery County. Ladies, cheers. Thank you so much for joining us. Y'all have a great weekend, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
Today's show was recorded and broadcasted live on irlonestar.com, Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, and all rights and ownership are reserved to Lone Star Community Radio. For more information regarding this program and Lone Star Community Radio, visit us online at irlonestar.com. Lone Star Community Radio is Montgomery County's community radio station, serving the community with local programming on TV, radio, and online. If you enjoyed today's program, please support us by sponsorship or starting your own show. Contact us today by phone or text at 936-666 1084 or email the station at lscrstudios@gmail.com.